Hey babes, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Alexandra. On today's video, we are going to be talking about some of the things that you can start incorporating into your hair care routine to get you prepared to start your starter locks going into the new year. We are in Q4. It is officially October, and honestly, we know that these months in Q4 fly by so quickly. And the new year is honestly the perfect time to start your lock journey. I actually started my locks in the new year of 2022 on January 6th of 2022 to be exact. So the months leading up to the new year time in which I started my locks, I did heavy research into starter lock journeys and different methods to really help guide and inform my decision as I went into that new year starting my lock. So I wanted to do a video today where I provide you with just some practical tips and things that you can incorporate from now that will get you ready to start your locks in the new year if you're planning to do so. Okay, so the first thing that I want to address on is your why. Why do you want to start your locks? And now this is a personal reason. This is definitely subjective to the person and whatever their desires are. But I want you to think about different things as to why you are looking to start your lock journey. Is it a lifestyle thing? Like, are you just, tired of having to just like deal with, quote unquote, deal with your hair? Are you somebody that's wanting to actually explore like taking care of and embracing your natural hair for the first time in your life? Are you somebody that just loves the look of locks? Or are you somebody that's just wanting to, as people would say, hop on the trend that's going on right now, right? And no shade to anyone, but just think about your why, because your why is what's really going to get you through the starter lock phase. The starter lock phase is hands down one of the most beautiful parts of the lock journey, but it can also be very challenging because it's, for many, the first time, and I can speak from experience myself, the first time of having to really just leave your hair be. And even as somebody who grew up with having, natural hair their entire life, having locks going through the starter lock phase was a different type of journey that I had to go through with my natural hair as somebody who had already been having natural hair their entire lives, right? Like, I've never had a relax or anything of that nature. So it's a different type of way of embracing your hair, because you're simply having to just leave it be and trust the journey and trust the process and allowing your hair to do what it's going to do. So really take the time to think about your why. Locks, if you allow it to be, is a long-term commitment, right? Like, in order to get from that starter lock phase to even, this point where I am right now, where I'm 3.5 years in, but even people who are like 10, 15 years in, there's a level of commitment that comes with it. And with that level of commitment, you have to know, well, why am I starting to do this? And why am I going to actually stick this thing through? So think about that as you go into making your decisions to actually start your starter locks. And then some things that you can pair along with your why is doing your research. I always say that even if you decide to self-maintain or you go down the route of going to a professional loctician, you need to still be doing your research so that you are also well informed of what the lock journey actually looks like. I think a lot of people are so taken aback by the starter lock phase because they did not expect the frizz. They did not expect the budding. They did not expect the unraveling. They did not expect the shrinkage. And a lot of those things are known when you are in your starter lock phase, but if you don't do your research, it can come as a huge surprise to you. So do your research as to the starter lock phase. I always encourage people to look at content creators who have a similar hair texture to them. And when I say similar, if you have very coily hair like I do, try to look at creators who started their lock journey and their hair is very coily as well, type 4 hair, and just get a idea. Everyone's lock journey is going to be different, but it just gives you an idea of like what you can expect in terms of how certain hair textures and types are actually going to evolve during the starter lock phase. Be mindful of the different ways in which you can start your locks as well. And I have so many videos on my page where I talk about these things, the different methods, touche and twist, coils, braids, free forming your locks, things of that nature. Like, take the time to research those different methods, because again, that's also going to let you know what you can anticipate when your locks start to actually evolve and turn into locks, what 2-strand twists will look like over time as they begin to bud and mature and start to lock, what comb coils will look like, you know, what braids will look like, and so forth. Research for yourself is so important. In addition to researching the different ways you can start your locks, research the different ways in which you can maintain your locks. So you have retwisting, you have interlocking, you have crocheting. Again, these are all decisions that you want to make sure that you are doing alongside your lifestyle. And when I say lifestyle, are you somebody that's actively working out? Do you work out a lot? If you're working out a lot, we know that you're tending to, you know, have a sweaty scalp more often. Your hair's going to get frizzy more often. You're going to have to wash your hair more often. So be mindful of that. Maybe you're just someone that's super busy and you don't really have the time to tend to your hair, and you know, you don't have the time to be going to the hair salon every 4 or 5 weeks to get a retwist. You may want to look into doing interlocking. But again, with those maintenance methods also comes learning the different types in which you can start your locks as well. So starting your locks and making a decision to decide which starter lock method is best for you, and then pairing it with an informed decision of which maintenance method is best for you as well. You also want to consider, do I want to start my locks myself? Do I want to go to a loctician? At some point in time, if I do start with the loctician, am I going to want to DIY and self-maintain them? Think about those different decisions, okay? I started my locks with a loctician simply because I wanted to explore having a professional just do my hair for once, because I've always been doing my hair myself. But once I hit about 6-7 months into my lock journey, I started self-maintaining my locks myself, and I've been retwisting my hair ever since, right? So make the decision on, do you have the time commitment to do your hair yourself? Your budget as well, like do I have the means to pay someone to do my hair on a monthly or a bi-monthly basis? Think about those different things while you're also making your decisions as to starting your locks. So in addition to doing the research into different starter lock methods and maintenance and deciding if you want to self-maintain or go to a loctician, you also want to start practicing healthy hair habits from now. And when I say healthy hair habits, I mean you want to get used to moisturizing your scalp, but you also want to get used to moisturizing your scalp in a way where you're not using a lot of heavy products. Because locks are very prone to lock buildup, less is more. So you don't want to be using heavy cream-based products on your locks. You don't want to be using heavy waxes and gels. And so getting your mind prepared for the fact that, like, okay, this cabinet full of hair care products that I have, you might gonna have to throw that away because you're not really gonna need it, right? Like, you just need a good clarifying shampoo, a good moisturizing shampoo, some oils, you know, a good lock gel, and that's really it when it comes to having locks. So prepare yourself for less is more when it comes to your hair. Less manipulation and less products being used. The thing with locks is that a lot of people are like, oh, okay, locks is a low manipulation way of keeping my hair, so I don't really have to take care of it. And yes, it is a low manipulation way of maintaining your hair and keeping your hair. You still actually have to tend to it. You just tend to it in a different way in which you would tend to if you were somebody that was constantly, you know, getting like protective styles done with braids, or if you were somebody that was getting like silk presses or things of that nature. Like, it's a different way of maintenance, but it requires less products, of course, but you still need to get into the habit of still having a routine and practicing best practices when it comes to keeping your hair healthy. And so that will definitely look like keeping it clean, but also keeping it moisturized, but keeping it moisturized and not using and relying on heavy cream-based products in order to, you know, get your hair a certain way, because you're not molding and styling your hair anymore. You're literally just leaving it be, and you're just hydrating it with water. You're hydrating it with, you know, rose water spray, but then you're also just kind of sealing that in with oil, and that's pretty much it. So kind of get used in that shift in that mindset of like, all right, my hair is not going to need all these products. It's not going to need all this manipulation. Another thing I would say too, and I was definitely a victim of this, is no matter how long your hair is, it is going to shrink. I had talked about wanting to start my locks for like a good 3 years before I actually started it. And one of the main reasons why I prolonged it was because I wanted to grow my natural hair out to get a little bit longer. So when I started my locks, I would have good length. And let me tell you guys, and I'm going to find photos so I can show you, my hair, when I would blow dry my hair, my natural hair, it was like right here to my back. And when I started my locks, it shrunk. And then as my hair was going through the locking phase, the budding phase, it shrunk even more. So it does not matter how long your hair is going to shrink. So get rid of the idea that like, oh my God, my hair has to be the perfect length in order for me to start my locks. It don't matter. It's going to shrink. The best time to start your lock journey is when you know that you can actually commit to the journey. And that's the most important thing. So don't worry about having the perfect length, the perfect, volume. I'm trying to do it. It's when can you actually commit to doing this and then seeing it through. And then really just spend this time planning your timeline, right? So Q4, like I said, is we're here in it. And for me, this is when I did a lot of heavy research. I started looking into different locticians that I know I wanted to start my locks with. I pretty much established that, okay, I wanted to start my locks with 2-strand twists, and that I wanted to, at the time, I decided that I wanted to interlock my hair because I was very, very active in working out and my hair was getting sweaty quite often. And just know that whatever method that you do start with in terms of like maintaining your locks, you can switch it over time. And that's what I did myself. I started with interlocking, I switched to retwisting. You can, but nevertheless, you just want to make sure that whatever decision that you make when it comes to your lock journey, that you're doing it from a place where you are informed for yourself and you're not relying on another person to make those decisions for you, because you're going to regret it. If you're relying heavily on somebody to tell you, oh, you should start your locks like this, and you should get this, and it should be this size. At some point in time, you're going to realize that, like, okay, I allowed somebody to pretty much do this for me, and I didn't make it from an informed place. Even something just as simple as, like, how are you going to start your locks? Traditional locks, do you want them to be small size? Do you want them to be medium? Do you want them to be very thick? Do you want to do micro locks? Like, just knowing about those different things and making an informed decision as to how you want to go about starting your locks is so important. Just to talk about myself a little bit, as I stated, I started my locks in January of 2022. I always knew that I wanted like pretty like medium sized locks. And the reason being is that I know myself, I don't have the patience to sit down in someone else's chair, or the patience for myself to retwist over 100 locks. Like, I knew that small locks was something that was just not going to work for me in my lifestyle and my lack of patience, right? So I was very adamant when I went to a loctician. She asked me, like, what size are you looking to start your locks? And I said, I want them to be a medium size. And, in my mind, as long as I had less than 100 locks, like, I was good. And I ended up with 92 locks. I combined a few last year, and now I'm at 85, and it works very well for me. I can retwist my hair in under 2 hours. I'm not overwhelmed by it. And I ultimately love the size of my lock. I don't feel like I have too much locks, and I don't feel like I have too little. I don't feel like they're too thick, but I don't feel like they're too small. And that is also something that you need to know for yourself. Like, what size locks do you want, right? Are you okay with having like 500 locks if you get micro locks done? Or are you okay with having like, 50 something locks and they're very, very thick? Like, make those decisions for yourself and just know that you have the autonomy when it comes to this journey. It is a beautiful journey nevertheless, but don't go into the journey blindly. I think it's bad practice to go into any journey, whether you're starting like a fitness journey, you're starting a journey into like a new relationship. Like, you don't want to go into anything blindly. And it's the same thing with like having locks, right? As low maintenance as it is, it still requires you to make informed decisions, and make informed decisions from a place of knowing your why, and then also being educated as to how you are actually going to commit to the lifestyle of having locks. Okay, so this is just a little guide, a little bit of motivation and inspiration for you if you are out there looking to start your locks in the new year in 2026. I'm going to be 4 years locked on January 6th, 2026, and it's absolutely insane because even though I've had locks for almost 4 years, my locks just continue to change and evolve, and I just fall in love with them more and more and more every single day. And I cut my locks earlier this year into like this bob cut, and it's already growing out. I've been able to do 2-strand twists on my hair. This is my second time doing this style, and I love it. And I fall in love with my hair more and more. And I know, the way that it looks now at 3.5, almost 4 years, it's going to look different in another like 5 years when I'm almost 10 years locked. And I think that's the excitement about having locks, is that, it's a commitment that you make, but with the commitment, there's just so much beauty that you continue to see month by month, year by year. So if you're looking to start your locks in 2026, hopefully this video was helpful to you. And please definitely go through my page and look at all the videos that I have. I mean, you'll see videos from when I was like 1 year locked, right? And even then you'll see the difference in my locks itself. And I see people comment on my videos and say this all the time, but throughout my channel, I have a lot of videos where I offer starter lock tips, maintenance, products that you can use, things of that nature to kind of get you through the journey. And I even talk about like differences between like retwisting and interlocking and like the different maintenance methods and things of that nature. So, you know, if you're looking for inspiration from somebody who has gone through it, somebody who is a type 4 girl, in particular I have like type 4B, 4C hair, my hair is very coily, then you're in the right place. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye bye.